Most welcome, Reverend Walson Tampuji.
Thank you, Samji.
And your perspective on the Vedas, as we shared yesterday, was very, very illuminating. Because this is a challenge we are all faced with.
Yes.
Men, women of religion, who are mired in their ritualistic, dogmatic pursuit of so-called religiosity,
Yes.
they need to transcend
Yes.
that part of religiosity and then relate to the whole of humanity as one family,
Yes.
and relate to the creation on the one side and to the creator on the other side.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
So that type of a relationship has to be developed.
Yeah.
Now tell me, in this whole purpose or perspective, where do we see this whole widening gulf between the rich and the poor? Where do we see the religions opposed to each other or becoming exclusivist?
Yes.
No? Hindu claims his religion to be exclusivist.
Yeah.
Christian, Muslims. So where is the place for any form of exclusivism? If we are children of one and the same God, and therefore we are one human family, all that we need to focus on is to dismantle these differences or prejudices, discriminations, and most of these prejudices and discriminations are acting as if they are sources of structural violence. And they come by birth. Just as the caste comes by birth, similarly the religion comes by birth,
Yes.
and the prejudices come by birth, discriminations come by birth, and no amount of law, courts, any other things can...
Thank God everything ends with death.
Yes, yes. Comes by birth and everything ends by death.
You raised two issues, Swamiji.
Yeah,
One is, if there is one God
yeah,
and all are equally the children of God,
yeah.
how come there are economic differences or disparities
Yes,
that severely afflict the world and humankind?
yes.
That's one issue. The second issue is, how come that we have competitive religiosities?
Yes,
Different religions competing among themselves
yeah,
to establish supremacy one over the other
yeah,
and to enlarge their respective empires.
yeah.
These are the two issues. Very briefly, I will sort of respond to your questions.
Yeah.
First of all, economic disparities. I think when we say that God has created all of us, what it means, among other things, is that God has established a common foundation for all of humanity, which is meeting our needs. Every human being has needs.
Yeah.
Fortunately, all these needs are very simple. If you really look at your needs, they're very simple. And God has also created enough resources to meet the needs of everyone.
Yes.
So there would have been no problem, or the problem would have been marginal, if at all, if human nature and the systems originating in human nature had maintained themselves at the level of meeting human needs.
And
But that's not
need-based economy.
need-based economy,
Not greed-based.
need-based way of life, need-based culture, need-based education, need-based religion also.
Yeah, yeah.
Need-based religion. The only thing is that people must then understand what their real needs are. Now there's complete confusion there also, but I will not say anything about it about that at this stage. So the moment you shift from needs, you fall into greed.
Yes.
And greed will necessarily create inequality, disparity, oppression, exploitation. So you can't really stand rooted in a system of greed and then say, why has God created these inequalities? God has not created any inequality.
Yes.
God has only created equality.
Yes.
Equality of need. You need 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
I also need 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
You need a bed to sleep on. I need the same thing.
Yeah.
You need love. I need the same thing. You need security. And so our needs are the same. At the level of needs, there's hardly any difference between people. But that is completely rejected And
or
the myth,
even if all is some differences, marginal differences,
it's very negligible.
yeah, that's negligible.
They would not have created
But
any
when it
problem.
becomes,
Yes.
you know,
So
too wide.
the alternate system that man has created is called culture. So in history, the conflict is between spirituality and culture. Spirituality is a domain of meeting needs. Culture is a domain of aggravating human desires and greed, which is a wild goose chase. Nobody is ever satisfied, irrespective of what you get and how much you earn and how much you gather and hoard. Nobody is happy. There's no limit to it.
Yeah.
There's a line in Shakespeare which says, "The sea has its limits, human desires none." Like that. So this is how I believe that economic iniquitous and unequal exploitative economic systems and ways of life have been created. It's a very simple answer for want of time.
When I was in college, when I was first introduced to this economics as a subject,
Yes.
we started off by either it was Keynesian economics
Yeah.
or Adam Smith.
Yeah.
I don't remember whoever said
Yeah.
it.
Wealth of all nations.
Yeah, but the starting sentence was, nature is niggardly,
Yeah.
human wants are unlimited.
Yes. Yes.
See,
Yes.
now this is a wrong proposition.
Yeah.
Unlimited wants means
Mm.
you are making, transferring needs into greeds.
Yes.
So that is unlimited.
Mm.
Why it should be unlimited?
Mm.
Human body and everything, they are
Yeah.
limited needs.
Yeah.
Food, water, shelter, education, healthcare. These are some basic
Yes.
needs.
Now, I also want to say that when you shift from need to greed,
Yes.
you have to attack, wound, and kill nature.
Yes.
See, what was meant by saying that nature's resources are limited is actually a reminder and a warning to human beings. Look, nature is your resource.
Yes.
It is a limited resource. Therefore, live accordingly.
Yes.
Now, if you don't do that, if you don't live accordingly, then what you do is you force nature,
Yeah.
you exploit nature, and you rape nature.
Right.
And I see a direct connection, Swamiji, between the rape of nature and the rape of the woman.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
Now, it's a very interesting thing.
It's
All
a-
through history, there has been a parallel between what happens to the land and what happens to the woman. It's a very serious issue,
Yeah.
but that again is not central to our discussion, so I
Yeah.
will not go into that.
Yes.
Now, coming to the inequality of religions, I believe a similar mistake happened. That is, you see, if you look at the history of religions, progressively over a period of time, various spiritual truths are being revealed. I don't believe that that process is complete. I don't believe that that process should ever end. Now, unfortunately, every religion says, with us everything ended, we are the last word. That's where the problem lies. I don't think there is a last word in spirituality. So, we need to reject this last word model. I am the last word model.
Yes.
To, I am part of the process model.
Yes.
So that God may use you, God may use me, God may use an animal also
Yes.
to reveal a spiritual insight.
Yes.
And our duty, if you are spiritually free, religious freedom to me means the freedom to accept the wonderful insights, the light that continuously streams into human consciousness from a divine source, irrespective of which medium is used for the purpose,
Yes.
accepting it and benefiting from it. That's called religious freedom from it.
The Rig Veda has a beautiful couplet about it, a
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
It says, Ano Bhadra Kratvo
Yeah.
Yantu Vishvata.
Yeah.
Let noble thoughts come to us
Yes,
from
yes.
all sides.
All sides, yes.
Not limited.
Yeah.
One.
I would also say, let noble thoughts and spiritual insights come to us from all ages.
Ages.
All ages.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, for example, I believe
Yes.
that since the emergence of the modern culture, driven by technology, there has arisen a very specific and imperious need to develop a modern spirituality. We cannot any longer stay satisfied with what was revealed, say 4,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, as in the case of Christianity, or maybe 14,000 years ago, as in the case of Islam, or whatever.
1400.
1400 years ago. So, I think if God is still living,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
God cannot be a finished product.
Yes.
And God could not have done with everything and gone into permanent retirement. God is in continuous in engagement with the creation,
Yes.
which expresses His being
Yes.
and His goodness. And He or she uses all of these as resources for the continuous expression and revelation of the divine being. That to me is an unending process. And for anyone to say that all that ended in the past, that whatever human beings need to know has already been revealed, all you have to do is to recycle what has been told to us in the past. I think that's fundamental atheism.
Yes.
It's a very crude way of rejecting God. It is a way of saying that God is dead, and therefore I am taking charge of everything. I will tell you
It's
what to
also
do.
denial of human freedom.
All denial of freedom
Yeah.
issues from denial of God.
Yes. Yes.
That is the issue. So, what I have understood is human freedom originates in God. Freedom is not man's charity to man.
Very good.
Freedom is God's gift to human beings.
Human being.
Right? And if that is the case, for human freedom to remain pure, authentic, and life-friendly,
Yeah.
if freedom is to remain freedom, then we have to stay related to and locked into the divine presence.
Yes.
The moment we lose sight of or we alienate ourselves from God, freedom turns into its opposite.
Yes.
We ourselves become enemies of freedom. First of all, the freedom of somebody else. Then ultimately, we become enemies of our own freedom. Because God has so designed the world that if I don't respect your freedom, I cannot be free.
Sure.
If I don't respect your humanity, I cannot be human.
This part of what you are saying has come out so clearly in the judgment of Justice Chandrachud of Supreme Court
Yes,
in
yes.
that privacy case.
I must say that
Beautifully.
I must say
He
that
says we
justice,
are not beholden to this law or that constitution. Freedom is inherent
yes,
in all, it's a right
Absolutely.
inherent in all human beings.
I think the whole country
Yeah.
owes a huge debt of gratitude
Yes.
to the Constitution bench.
Yes.
And I must say with very great happiness
Yes.
that Justice Chandrachud in particular
Yes.
is saying some very, very enlightened things.
Very profound.
Very profound. And I mean, I feel
Yesterday,
proud.
He made a very profound statement in the court.
Yes.
He said, why do you have to wear your patriotism on your
On your
sleeves?
sleeves. Yes. I read it with great happiness.
Yes.
I must say, with some degree of humility,
Yeah.
that Justice Chandrachud was a student of St. Stephen's College.
Wow, great.
Now, this is the greatness of the college that
Yes.
it has produced such luminaries in the
Yes,
past.
yes.
Whether it is doing that at the moment is a different matter.
Uh-huh.
But I feel grateful
Yeah.
that some wonderful, well-meaning souls have gone through the portals of the college,
Yes.
and they are making a difference in various sectors
Yes.
of national life. It fills my heart with great pride, Swamiji.
Yes.
I get very
Me
excited.
too. I feel so
Yeah.
proud of Justice Chandrachud.
Yeah. So now, therefore, I think this whole competitive religiosity can be handled if we can really tell the truth that various religions are important stages in the continuing unfolding or revelation of that spiritual heritage.
Yes.
That no religion is complete in itself.
Yes.
That religions need to now rediscover a relationship of mutual reinforcement or complementarity. Complementarity. They must be humble enough and truthful enough to realize that they are friends and fellow wayfarers
Yes.
rather than enemies
Yes.
and fighters in a bush
Yes.
warfare.
Fellow pilgrims.
Fellow pilgrims.
Yes.
So that is something, that's a message that I hope the conference that you're organizing will send out very clearly to the whole country and the world beyond.
Thank you so
And
much.
I also want to emphasize that I'm very happy to work with you on these issues because this is the message for the times.
Yeah.
It's high time that these truths are uttered without any hesitation or apologies.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we are not ourselves free people. Why should we live in fear of this religious establishment or that religious establishment?
Exactly. We should always be ready to pay the price.
No, my fundamental thing
Yeah.
is I love the people of India, and whatever benefits them is my priority.
Why just India?
Yeah.
All people. All over
To
the
begin
world.
with, I mean,
Yeah.
we are all limited creatures.
Yes.
Before I fall in love with the whole of humankind, at least I must love my neighbor.
Yes.
Uh,
True, very true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Valsanji, and I look forward to your joining us at the World Veda Conference on 15th, 16th, 17th of December at Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, 1 Janpath, New Delhi.
That's wonderful.
Most of you who are listening to this, you are all invited, you are all free to join us, and please share these views across your religion, across your neighbors and everybody, so that we can all evolve into some sort of a enlightened thinking and not prejudiced or narrow-mindedness or sectarian thinking. This is the message of the Vedas, that we all constitute one Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world a family, whole of humanity a family, cutting across the prejudices of caste system, of racism, of gender inequality, and also economic inequality. And we have to demolish these walls, dismantle them. They have been there for too long. And it's time, high time, that we dismantle these walls of prejudices and exploitation, and we create an egalitarian society world over. And we have to fight back these right-wing forces which are reasserting and raising their ugly head in parts of the world, more so in our own country. So whoever is talking in terms of rigidity or fundamentalism, they are no longer to be heard or to be listened to or to be taken seriously. And we have to be liberal, we have to be democratic, and we have to respect all, irrespective of their caste, creed, color, or gender, etc., etc. Thank you so much.